March, a time where the flowers are blooming, the water is flowing, students in college cheat on their significant others in Florida, and, oh yeah, video games. With the month of February gone and Helldiver's kingdom still reigning supreme. It's now time to look forward into the gaming industry and see what games are coming out that might pique your interest. Hi, I'm Zaya, and I'm a brown skin nerd on the internet. If you're new here, this is a series I like to call Monthly Recap. What I do is I look at the games coming in the near future that might interest you so you don't have to, if you're lazy. All you gotta do is watch this video. Today we're looking at games coming in the month of March. And despite March being the month of moist, watery, sweet spring,
hey yo, what the fuck?
This month is actually pretty dry. I'll explain once I get into the video. One of the most prominent games that are coming out in the month of March are horror games? The months of October through December are rather lightly filled when it comes to games and are basically barren regarding horror games. Huh? What are we doing here? Either way, these games are by no means AAA titles, but they seem decently interesting to the point to where they might actually be worth a shot. The Thaumaturge. It's kind of like Vampire. You know, that old school game that nobody really played because the big YouTubers didn't play it and it was actually pretty good. It's kind of like that game, but imagine if the combat was turn-based. With it being an RPG, I am excited to see what the choices do in the world. The game dynamically changes based off of your decisions inside of the game. Or at least that's what they promise. I'm not a developer, I don't know. However, it is important to note that if you're going into this game expecting Final Fantasy level of graphics and Baldur's Gate's depth of combat, you're not going in with the right expectations. The developers of this $35 game is Fool's Theory. When looking at their games, they have made one, and that game being 7. Yeah, you didn't play it. And to that I say, shit, neither did I. But the part that piqued my interest was the other things that they have done. Some of the games that Fool's Theory have aided in making are Outriders, Divinity Original Sin 2, and Baldur's Gate 3. This is on top of the fact that they're actually remaking the original Witcher series. If you guys know anything about me, I'm a fan of the Witcher series. Big fan. In other words, if you are into old school Victorian horror, or if you're just into horror games in general, please keep an eye out for this one because this one actually might be a sleeper this month. And if you're not into those type of games, watch some gameplay. It might actually end up being your cup of tea. Who knows? These next two games, I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of mid. But I'll still cover them. I'll still cover them for you guys. The first game is the one, the only, The Outlast Trials. Yep, The Outlast Trials. If you were going to play The Outlast Trials, I kind of feel like you would have played it at this point. This game is very much an acquired taste, and the multiplayer is kind of buggy the last time I played it, so odds are, if you are a Last of Us fan, wrong horror game. If you're an Outlast fan, odds are you'll enjoy this game, go pick it up. If you're not, I'd say this is a skip. The next horror game on this list is Reveal. And this game visually looks like it would get popular. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this game visually looks amazing and we've never seen anything like this. No. That's not what I'm saying. It looks decent, but this game plays very similar to popular games. The old Amnesia series, Stanley Parable, Firewatch, kind of that type of game that focuses more on the vibe rather than the gameplay. This game is a psychological thriller that puts you inside of a carnival, a place that I'm never trying to go to. This for sure looks like a game that would gain popularity for a month because some big YouTuber or Twitch streamer plays it. Personally, these types of games are not my cup of tea. However, I understand there is probably a class of people out there that would absolutely love this game. And on top of that, this is an indie game company, and do not quote me on this because they may have just confused me on their website. 7 developers? I have no idea. So if you enjoy supporting small developers, this game is absolutely something y'all should look out for. There is one more horror game that is placed in a later category for certain reasons. So if you are into horror games, please stay for the next few categories so y'all can see that. I am in no way, shape, or form going to give extensive details on all the top-down and side-scroller games that are coming out this month. The asshole in me wants to say that every single one of these games looks mid because they all look the same, but at the end of the day, people out there may enjoy one of these. So instead of giving extensive details on every single one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some gameplay right here for y'all. I'm going to vocally say what the game is when it comes out, and y'all can make your decision for yourself based off the gameplay. the wish list section, we're going to be looking at games that should at the very least be bought at a discount and at the most be gifted to you by your friends, because do not buy these games at full price. Please, for the love of God, do not buy these games at full price. The main reason why I say that is for two things. One, all around the game does not look as good as the price point says. With that $70 price point being the norm nowadays, most games do not deserve that $70. I'm going to be straight up. And number two, the game is being released right next to an industry giant, and it's about to get the Titanfall 2 treatment. RIP Titanfall 2, by the way, we won Titanfall 3. Starting off with the first game, Outcast: A New Beginning. In all honesty, this game completely flew under my radar. And when I was looking at it, I was pleasantly surprised, not overwhelmingly shocked, not even really surprised. I was just kind of looking at it and I kind of went, This game reminds me of both Horizon Zero Dawn as far as the world and the communication, and a little bit of Mass Effect with the weapons. And when I say a little bit, I mean genuinely just a little bit, not too much. And on top of that, this setting does seem like it's space related with aliens. So if you're into space and shooting aliens and stuff, this game might be good. Who knows? Now, the main reason why I say wishlist this game is that price point. This game, unfortunately, has graphics, dialogue, combat, and a HUD that looks like it belongs in last generation's console. Even in the gameplay trailer, you can see weird ass frame drops at random places where it shouldn't be dropping. This game looks like a remaster of a game that looks like it was released in 2008. No way in hell am I paying $70 for this. If Helldivers and Palworld have shown you anything, it's that not every game needs to be $70, guys. I think that if this game was around $30, I would absolutely say, hey, buy it. It looks really good, but not $70. If you're interested in this game, or if you're just interested in RPGs in general, definitely just wishlist this game and get it when the price drops. But $70 for a game that looks worse than Infamous Second Son is just, yeah, right, we're not doing that shit. Alone in the Dark is our next horror game that was placed in this category for the actual reason to wishlist this game. I think this game is kind of a step above those other ones. Just like Outcast, this game is kind of an overpriced game. Personally, I think Alone in the Dark should be around $40 for how it looks. The main thing that stuck out to me for this game is its amazing combat. I love when I'm able to just pick up a gun and wait, is that dude from Stranger Things? For context, this is a third-person horror action game. And just by saying that, I think you can kind of assume what, other games it plays like. I can't quite put my finger on it, but this game feels kind of like a step below those other games that I just listed. The movement looks visually just a little too slow, the characters look just slightly less worse than the others, and graphics are just barely worse. It's kind of like when your older brother makes varsity while you make JV with every single sport that you play, so you have to constantly live in his shadow eternally. You know what I'm talking about? Or is that just me? I might need to go to therapy, fuck. Jokes aside, if you are into third-person action horror games, this game is right up your alley. Wishlist it, wait for a price drop, watch some gameplay, and see if it's your cup of tea. Now, if an alien came down to Earth and told me that I had to predict what the #1 game of March would be, or else they're gonna take me to their mothership and probe me,
Pause.
I would say with 100% confidence it's going to be Dragon's Dogma 2. The best way I can describe this game is, imagine if Baldur's Gate was much more conventionally attractive, which means y'all will actually give it a shot without complaining. What I'm trying to say is that this game takes a lot of the elements from your favorite games and favorite RPGs and twists them on their head and spins it in their own way. It's amazing. There are so many different classes and playstyles that you can have within this game, and each and every single one of them are vastly different and completely alter the way the game is played. Odds are, if you are into RPGs, even in the slightest, Capcom has cooked something up here that you are absolutely going to love. So please, for the love of God, play this game. And the unfortunate thing about that is that we have another game releasing on the same exact day that is just mwah. Rise of the Ronin should already be inside of your shopping cart at this point. If both Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima had a child, went through a nasty divorce resulting in one of them taking 50% of the other's assets, putting the child through the foster care system, only for them to be given to a new family to develop their own individual personality, that is what Rise of the Ronin is. Just looking at the combat, it is a solid in-between when it comes to difficulty and gameplay. It incorporates the concept of stances from Ghost of Tsushima, combines the movement and parry system from Sekiro, as well as adding its own special twist to the traversal and combat mechanics to create I don't think there's ever been a promotional video or a commercial for this game that hasn't had me going,
it's so beautiful.
On top of that, come on now, all of us deep down want to be a Japanese swordsman. I think one of the biggest divergent factors with this game is actually the time period it was set in. For context, Ghost of Tsushima is set in the 13th century. Sekiro, with all of its weird-ass creatures and demons, is set in the 16th century. Rise of the Ronin is set in the late 19th century. For context, this game was not too far away from being able to send a fax machine to save your progress. That alone makes it to where the architecture, the clothing, hell, even the weapons are vastly different than other Japanese games that you've probably played. In other words, if you are a weeb and you enjoy sword games, Assassin's Creed games, Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, and or Neo, odds are you will need to buy this game the second it comes out. And that wraps it up for the games that are actually worth buying in March. Let me know what games you guys are thinking about picking up, what games you guys are keeping an eye out for, and what games you guys are thinking about degrading on the internet. If you think I missed any of the games that are worthy of being picked up this month, please leave a comment, let me know. I am a human, I make mistakes, and I have my own opinions on video games. But other than that, I'm your residential brown skin nerd on the internet, and I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all later.